I'm Shana, and you're watching Recipes Are Simple. Today we're making Chinese hot and sour soup with chicken and tofu. This is a peppery soup containing chili paste and white pepper, along with the sour note from vinegar, which is actually Chinese black vinegar. And the resulting yin and yang flavors are further complemented in the savory broth with chicken and mushrooms, as well as egg. It's absolutely delicious, wonderful when you don't really have much of an appetite. It's very soothing. So this is my take on the traditionally ancient Chinese recipe. Here I'm only using tofu and Swiss brown mushrooms, whereas in the traditional recipe often wood ear mushrooms and dried mushrooms are used, as well as bamboo shoots. So you can use whatever you have on hand. Hot and sour soup is a favorite at Chinese restaurants, and now you can make this simple soup at home. So let's get started with the recipe. This makes one large pot of soup. So first of all, we want to start off with marinating our chicken. A very little amount of chicken is used, a half cup to 3/4 of a cup of chicken cut into small strips. And then we're going to marinate it with 1 teaspoon of light soy sauce, a half a teaspoon of cornstarch or cornflour, and a half a teaspoon of Asian toasted sesame oil. The other ingredients that we will need for this recipe are mushrooms of your choice. I'm using Swiss brown mushrooms, as well as silken tofu. Try to get the tofu that is suitable for soups. And we'll also need some condiments: light soy sauce, Chinese black vinegar, Asian sesame oil, and chili bean sauce. This is a Sichuan style chili bean sauce that contains red chili paste as well as fermented soybean paste. It's a wonderful condiment, and you'll be using it in several dishes if you try it. And we also have 6 cups of stock. You can use chicken stock or vegetable stock, whatever you prefer. Here's the silken tofu that I'm using. It's a very delicate tofu, but you can cut it up, and it's perfect for soups. It doesn't disintegrate into the soup. This is 300 grams, and we're going to cut it into rectangular size pieces like this. So set that aside. And like I said earlier, you can use any mushrooms that you have. You can also use dried mushrooms that have been rehydrated if you prefer that. But I like the flavor of Swiss brown mushrooms. I'm just going to take 4 of these mushrooms. The stalks have been removed. So once sliced up, it makes about 1.5 cups. In another bowl, we're going to take 2 eggs and just beat them lightly. You don't want to overbeat the eggs. So here we have a stock pot, and I placed it on heat. Oh, and we also need the white and the green portion of spring onions to be added in different stages. So to our stock pot, we're going to add 2 to 3 tablespoons of sunflower oil. And as it heats up, we're going to add the sliced mushrooms first. Once we add the mushrooms, you're going to saute them till they're really considerably reduced in size. Saute them slowly for about 3 to 4 minutes. While the mushrooms are being fried or sauteed like this, we can take a look at these ingredients. So the chili bean paste that I'm using is Lee Kum Kee chili bean sauce. The next thing that you need to have ready at this point is minced garlic. We're going to need 1/2 teaspoons of minced garlic, as well as 1.5 teaspoons of minced ginger, both fresh ginger and garlic that have been minced. And the spring onions should be sliced and kept ready as well. So once the mushrooms have been fried for 3 to 4 minutes, we're going to add the marinated chicken. Fry this chicken for about 2 minutes on high flame, after which we can add the chili bean sauce. This can be added according to taste, but start off with 1.5 generous tablespoons of the sauce, and you can add more later depending on how hot and how flavorful you want it. So fry the chicken with the sauce for just under a minute, and it really smells wonderful at this point. Now we can add the spring onion, the white portions only, as well as the ginger and the garlic. So it's 1.5 teaspoons of garlic and 1 teaspoon of ginger. And you're going to need to saute this till the raw aroma of the ginger and the garlic dissipates. So another minute or so. Once the raw smell is gone, you can add all of your stock. Now we're also going to add a little bit of soy sauce to this stock. So the stock is already salty, but we also want to add a little bit of soy sauce. So depending on how salty your stock is and depending on what type of soy sauce you're using, the amount of soy sauce added will change. Add 1/8 cup to 1/4 cup of this light soy sauce according to taste. Make sure you don't add too much as it will make the soup very salty. And we're also going to add 1 teaspoon of sugar to balance the flavors. Now taste this and you can add more of the chili bean sauce according to your preference. So I added another tablespoon after tasting it. So that's 2.5 tablespoons total that have been added in my soup. The soup is coming to a boil now, so we need to make the cornflour slurry. For this you need 3.5 tablespoons of cornstarch or cornflour and mix this really well with 5 tablespoons of water till it's completely dissolved. And as you can see, the soup is boiling. We're going to add this cornflour solution and wait for it to thicken just slightly. At this point you can also add the tofu. As the sliced tofu sits, you'll find some liquid accumulated in the bowl. You want to remove that liquid and add the tofu pieces. We're also going to add the spring onion greens at this time. So once it's come to a good boil, we're going to stir in one direction to create a whirlpool effect. Make sure you're stirring only in one direction. Then you reduce the heat to a very gentle simmer. Add the eggs slowly in a circle and then slowly stir again in one direction. And the raw eggs will cook almost instantaneously as they spread and feather into ribbons. So you don't want to cook that too long. As soon as it's set, we can turn off the heat. Once the heat is off, we're going to season this with the black vinegar and the white pepper powder. So here I'm adding 2 tablespoons of Chinese black vinegar. I'm using Chinese black rice vinegar. So with the black vinegar, we're going to add white pepper powder. You really do need to use white pepper powder for this recipe. Using black pepper powder doesn't create the same flavor. It's completely different. So 1/2 teaspoon of white pepper powder to finish. Give it a stir and just adjust the flavors. So if you want it more spicy, add more pepper. If you want it more sour, add more of the black vinegar. And at the very end, just before serving, drizzle a tiny bit of toasted sesame oil or Sichuan chili oil if that's available. Really versatile but delicious recipe. So I hope you try this recipe for Chinese hot and sour soup. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you're all staying safe and healthy at home. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. I have lots more recipes coming. Recipes from everywhere, recipes for everyone. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Bye!